Cakeology by G.
Hi friends! Valentine's Day is coming soon and it brings back memories of my first Valentine with Johnny, my husband. He gave me these huge stack of Robin Sharma books. I know, but I was into that sort of stuff at that time and I didn't have anything to give him, so I took out this tiny smiley from my bag and I gave it to him. Small but it's cute, right? Anyways, he always talks about how I cheaped out on him. So this Valentine's, I more than made up for it by baking him some Valentine's Day special heart-shaped Macrons flavored with raspberry-infused Swiss meringue. They look so beautiful and they just simply melt in your mouth. Everyone loves a good batch of Macrons, right? Come, I'll show you how I made them. Guys, I can't stress this enough. Precision is very important while making Macrons. So I'm going to measure out all the ingredients carefully using a measuring scale. I'm going to measure out 140 grams of almond flour. But here I've taken a few more grams extra as I'll be throwing out the lumps later while sieving. I'm going to add in 130 grams of powdered sugar. It's already 129 grams, so I'm going to add a tiny bit more. Okay, it's 130 grams now. I'm going to mix these two together and blend it in the blender. We need a really smooth flour mixture, otherwise the surface of the macarons won't be smooth. Now I'm going to blend it in my blender. Blend it just for a few seconds and don't blend it too much, otherwise it will become almond butter. Pass the blended mixture through a sieve. I'm going to throw out this chaff. Okay. I'm going to blend it once again and sieve it again. Again, I'm going to throw out the coarse particles. Actually, don't throw them out. You can use them for something like smoothies. They are very nutritious and also they don't come cheap. So, I've got a fine flour mixture here. I'm going to keep it aside. Now, I'm moving on to the egg whites. I measured out 100 grams of egg whites yesterday in a clean bowl. I covered it in a plastic wrap. I put some holes in it and put it in the refrigerator so that it dehydrates and some of its water gets evaporated. So basically, I've aged the egg whites. You might be wondering, is it necessary to do all these steps? Not really, but it sort of helps in making these finicky little macarons. For beating the egg whites, I am going to clean the bowl of my stand mixer and also my whisk with a dab of vinegar. You can also use some lemon instead. This is to completely eliminate any grease that might be present in the bowl. If there is any fat content in the bowl, it might mess up with the consistency of the meringue. This 100 grams of egg whites is from 3 eggs, but then again, measure them out carefully. I'm going to whip up the egg whites starting at a low speed. Once it begins to foam, add a quarter teaspoon of cream of tartar, add a quarter teaspoon of salt. The cream of tartar will help in stabilizing the egg whites. It is not necessary, but it certainly helps. I've already measured out 90 grams of granulated sugar. I'm going to slowly drizzle it in. I'm also going to add in a gentle squirt of red gel food color. I want to make my macarons red, cause it's Valentine's Day. Always make sure that you use either powdered food color or gel food color. Otherwise it will mess up with the consistency of the meringue. And also, I totally forgot one important thing. All the ingredients have to be at room temperature. That is very important. And look who has joined me today, it's Ami. Yesterday she got very excited when I told her we were going to make some macarons and she said that she simply had to join. She loves to join me in my baking adventures. Yeah. See, I've got stiff peaks now. And when I turn this bowl over, nothing is falling out. That is the consistency that I'm trying to reach. You want to turn the bowl over, Ami?
It's too heavy for me.
It's too heavy for you? Okay, see? Nothing is falling out. Now I'm going to fold in the flour mixture into the meringue bit by bit. Fold in the flour mixture inside and out. We want to remove some of the air bubbles. but not all of it. I'm able to form a smooth 8 with my batter. This is the point where I stop mixing. I know it's tempting to mix it a little bit more, but stop right there. Now I'm going to start piping the macarons. Piping, I've already prepared a piping bag with a small round tip. This round tip is about 5 millimeter in diameter. Also, I've kept my tray upside down as I want the air circulation to be better for my macarons. Also, I've made small cute heart shapes that I can trace using a blunt color pencil and a cookie cutter. I'm going to place my silicone mat over that. I'm going to clean my silicone mat with a paper towel dabbed with some vinegar so that it is absolutely clean. I'm going to fill my piping bag. I'll come back later and refill it again. Let's start piping the macaron hearts. Squeeze a dollop of macaron batter into the rounded curve of the heart. Pipe on a slant while decreasing the amount of pressure as you move further down the tip. The batter doesn't need to be filled entirely as it will spread. To stop piping, quickly flip the tip towards the center. Smooth out and pop the air bubbles with a toothpick.
And as I'm already done with the piping, I'm going to preheat my oven to 325 Fahrenheit. I'm going to tap my tray to remove the air bubbles, and I'm going to let it rest for about 15 to 45 minutes until a skin forms on the surface of the macarons. The time taken for this will depend on the climate that you live in.
I've kept the first batch of macarons inside the oven. I'm waiting for the skin to form on the second batch of macarons. The macarons have to be baked at 325 Fahrenheit for about 18 minutes. Once a proper skin is formed on the macarons, it will be dry to touch, and if you touch it with your finger, it won't leave an imprint on the macaron easily. If the macarons don't have a proper skin, they won't have any feet. Our first batch of macarons are now ready. Aren't they really pretty? And they even have proper feet formed on them. If you want to check the doneness of your macarons, just move it around a little bit once it has cooled down. It shouldn't jiggle at all. And if you carefully take one of the macarons from the silicone mat, the bottoms of the macarons should be brown. Now it's time to prepare some yummy raspberry Swiss meringue buttercream. Are you excited? I am. Moving on to the filling for the macarons. You can actually fill these macarons with anything that you wish. You can fill it with buttercream. You can fill it with a meringue buttercream, which is my favorite. Or you can fill it with American buttercream, which is quite easy to make. Or you can even fill it with some chocolate ganache or even some ready-made jam or jelly. But today, since I'm making something special, I'm going to fill my macarons with some raspberry flavored Swiss meringue. It is my favorite filling and I want to show you how I make this. Again, for making the meringue, we need precise measurements. First, I'm going to take 200 grams of egg whites. I'm using some store-bought egg whites this time. If you are using fresh egg whites, make sure that you separate each egg white in a separate bowl and add them to the main bowl. Otherwise, if one of the egg whites are bad, the whole batch will be wasted. I'm taking 200 grams of egg whites. And one important thing to note before adding the egg whites is you have to clean the pan thoroughly. I've dabbed the pan with a tissue dipped in vinegar so as to eliminate any possibility of grease. If there is any grease at all in any of the utensils used, it will mess up the consistency of the meringue. Meringues are tricky that way, but the taste is worth it. Set the scale back to 0 and add in 265 grams of granulated sugar. Now I am going to cook this over very low heat and stir it continuously until it reaches a temperature of 147 Fahrenheit or 64 degrees Celsius. That is the melting point of sugar. And the egg whites will also be cooked completely. I'm going to cook this over medium heat, stirring continuously. Cook the mixture of egg whites and sugar till it reaches a temperature of 147 Fahrenheit. Stir the mixture continuously and measure the temperature using a thermometer. Once it reaches about 145 Fahrenheit, turn off the stove. It will reach the temperature of 147 Fahrenheit on its own. Now we have to strain this hot mixture of egg whites and sugar. We have to strain these egg whites into the mixing bowl. Just dab the utensils with a dash of vinegar. I've already cleaned the stand mixer's bowl with vinegar. If we don't strain the mixture, there might be some coagulated egg whites present in it and it won't taste good. Strain it through a really fine sieve. Discard the part left in the sieve. The bowl will be hot to touch. Start beating the mixture using a whisk attachment. Start at a low speed, gradually moving up. We need to achieve stiff peaks in the egg white mixture before adding in the butter. I'm going to measure out 330 grams of butter. We have reached a stiff peak stage now. Add in the butter cube by cube. This is butter that was taken out of the refrigerator 15 minutes ago. This is still cold. I can press it down a little bit but not too much. Oh, Ami wants to join me in making the buttercream. Say hi, Ami.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
High five. High five. Okay.
I want to join Amma because making this macarons. I asked her I want to join her.
Yeah, okay. She wants to join me. So we have reached the stiff peaks. I'm going to change the attachment to a paddle attachment. This is not really necessary in this case, but I'm just going to do so since this is what I normally do. So I'm going to add the butter cube by cube to the buttercream. Start mixing at a low speed. This buttercream will curdle at first and you'll think that it has all gone wrong, but just keep on beating. Continue beating for about 15 to 20 minutes and it will all come together to form a smooth consistency. The buttercream has reached a pipeable consistency. I'm going to add a raspberry reduction that I made yesterday to the buttercream. I've shared the recipe in the footnotes. You can even add vanilla essence or any flavor that you want. This raspberry reduction will not only add a tart flavor which balances the sweetness of the macarons, but will also give a natural red color to the buttercream. Whip the buttercream for about 5 more minutes till everything completely blends. Our macarons have turned out beautifully. Gently peel the macarons from the silicone sheet. They even have feet. So I'm going to find similar shaped macarons. I'm going to fill it with the natural raspberry flavored Swiss meringue buttercream. This is my favorite filling, but then again guys, you don't have to take the trouble to make this. You can just fill it with raspberry jam instead. That will also taste great. I've gone ahead and gold painted some of the macarons using a food safe paintbrush. Also going to add in some pearls for elegance. These macarons taste good right away, but they taste best when they are allowed to season in the refrigerator for about 2 to 3 days. Making macarons is a lot of work, it takes a lot of precision, but the taste and satisfaction is surely worth it. So delicious. They melt in your mouth like marshmallows, but they still have a beautiful crunch. The raspberry flavor adds a whole new dimension to the macaron. I hope you guys enjoyed making macarons with me. Susie's turning 2 next week and I'm going to make a very special birthday cake for her. So stay tuned and subscribe to my channel to get alerts on the latest videos that I post every week.